Talk Radio.
And on tunein.com, hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Life Mastery with Todd Allen, the talk radio show that dives into the science of higher consciousness. Join Todd and his guests weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and learn how to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. Enjoy a survey of inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. It's all right here. Leading authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs with stories and messages to support your well-being, let alone your most evocative dreams.
Hey, it's another groovy day, and you're not seeing my face today because the internet says I'm unstable, but I'm not really unstable. When I got up this morning, I decided it was going to be a groovy day, and that's the way the rest of the day works. Whatever happens, whatever I run into, I always think back that I started out groovy and punt. That's what I do. I punt and remember it's groovy and keep right on going with my day. How am I doing, Jackie?
You're doing good. I feel like I should be lip syncing you.
Welcome to the talk show that brings you great thoughts and ideas for you to use on your very own life mastery journey. Yeah, we might have to practice that a little bit.
That would be fun. Get ready for our vaudeville show.
As
First,
always,
you have to bring back vaudeville. Then you
There
can
you
go.
go.
You're ready to show.
Technicalities.
oh, Jackie and I could bring back vaudeville very easily, I think. Before we get started, I always like to get myself centered and situated and kind of organized for the great thoughts and ideas that we're going to be presenting you, and then I get to learn. And I do that by first concentrating and thinking about what it is that I connect to. What is it that I consider to be my higher power? It could be God, it could be Allah, it could be the dude, it could be the tree right outside of your office. But focus on that just for a minute. Let's take in a deep breath. And then let that breath out with a big and just let your essence flow from your solar plexus up through your heart center, throat chakra, out of your speaker box and out into the universe. And think about that connection. Get connected. Let's do that one more time. But this time, think about your dreams, visions, and goals. What is it that you aspire to be, do, or have? Taking a deep breath. And let that breath out with another big right out of your speaker box, out into the universe. And here's the deal. Provide the universe the opportunity to make those come true for you. Head up, chin up, tail out from between your legs. Those opportunities are headed your way if you're alert to it. There you go. I'm alert.
Did it.
To being just a picture on the screen today. Oh, am I locking up?
Yeah, a little bit.
Go ahead, Jackie.
A little bit. Well, welcome to Life Mastery Radio, everybody. And it's great now that we're a little bit in tune with that source that we have. It's nice to have you with us. And we have a really great guest today that's going to help you to get in touch and learn a little bit more about some languages you may not realize that you speak. And so we'll talk about that. So Todd, are you going to try to keep talking or you want me to start the show? What do you think?
You could remind the listeners where the show page is.
Yeah.
And to sign up.
Lifemastery.com or .net.
Sign up for the newsletter.
Yep.
And
sign
go
up
for
the
it.
newsletter, and you in that newsletter, which we don't use your address for anything but to send that to you. You're going to find out who's coming on the show. We give you a couple weeks notice, and you're going to find out who was just on the show through a blog post that Moi writes about our guests. And there's a special gift on there for you as well from me that I hope you will take advantage of. And you can find that out on lifemasteryradio.com or .net. After the show, it's all recorded, and we hope that you follow us on YouTube Hope that you're following us on Facebook. Hope that you're following us on Twitter. We are out there and we are moving and shaking. So, Todd, do you have anything exciting going on in your world?
I like being a picture. It's just like old
Yeah.
time radio. This is like the old time radio when you couldn't see our faces and it was broadcast and the voice and people paid attention just to that voice. Now we have video and you kind of miss it after a little while, I think.
Yeah. Well, when you and I started co-hosting together, it was only audio. Remember
Right.
that?
Not for very long.
Not for very long. We realized, hey, Facebook lets us do something live on there. So that's when we went to that format. But it would be funny if we could get just your mouth to move on your picture.
Let's get rolling with the show. Do you have an intro today or did I drop them?
I have
Okay,
an
go for it.
intro. Yeah, Jennifer Urezzio is our guest, and she is the founder of Soul Language, which is a paradigm that puts tangibility to soul so a conscious connection can be established to enable crystal clear decisions for success. Jennifer is also a master intuitive and the author of 2 best-selling books. Currently, she has trained over 20 practitioners worldwide in soul language. At this time, there are over 5,000 individuals all over the world connecting to their soul languages. Jennifer has worked with and supported hundreds of successful, highly creative individuals with resolving blocks in their creative process so that new opportunities can be received and created. Her clients consistently relate how Jennifer provides an environment where they feel safe to open up and be vulnerable. She helps them regain their strength and express their big purpose and mission. Jennifer has even been described as liquid nitrogen because she has the ability to see the core of possibilities within each individual's energy field. Wow, wonder what she sees in mine right now. She is a master at asking the soul-searching questions that allow individuals to understand and perceive new pathways of success and greatness in their lives. In just one session, clients report that new possibilities open up for them, which allows them to express their creativity, stardom, and greatness in whole new ways to the world. Now, Jennifer is going to be giving you guys a gift today. So you'll need to read the blog or check out our Facebook post after the show to get the link to her gift, which is a sacred practice. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but please welcome Jennifer Urezzio. Yay! Great to have you with us, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
What part of the world are you joining us from?
New Jersey. Don't hold that against
Jersey.
me. Jersey. I grew up in Westchester County, New York, and then I met a boy a long time ago and moved to Jersey. And then I just kept moving south. And now I'm in a little town called Morristown, and we live in what I call the tree house because it's surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are today. Me, Warner just left, my boyfriend, and Heart the dog is in her crate.
Heart is your dog's name? Oh,
Yeah.
That's very cute.
She's
So
very cute.
Tell us a little bit of the backstory. You were angry at the world, you were angry at your higher power, and I heard this today. You were in the middle of a mud bath and you asked God, you take on the rest of the story because you said, I need to know what the deal is. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah. So I was in marketing and PR and public relations, and I wasn't allowed to talk to clients because I would tell them the truth. And so I was kind of angry at the world, and I kept asking these really big questions like, all right, I know what my life purpose is, powerful healer and teacher of service in the spotlight. That's great. What do I do with that? And I'm kind of pissed off because where are my people? What am I supposed to be doing? Why am I angry? Like, I was just like shaking my fist. And I was speaking at a conference about essential oils and life purpose. And one of kind of the perks was to have a massage or any kind of service you wanted at the spa. So I thought getting a mud bath which with brown clay was like a great idea. So I'm lying on this table and this woman is slapping mud all over me. And I've got about an inch thick of mud on me. And I'm going, all right, universe, tree, Bob, God, cupcake, whatever you're called. Where are my people? And why did that woman across the way from me today? I don't care if I ever see her again, but that woman that was next to me, I know we're going to be friends. Like, what is that? And they give you these little stones when you get before you get on the massage table, like to focus on. And my stone was a wolf, which was all about teaching. And of course, my friend's going to laugh about this, but when they go pick a card, well, I always need to pick two. When they go, right, I'm like, I left a retreat center that my friend throws, and she's like, so I know you loved our cucumbers. There's one here for you. And I looked at him, she goes, I know, I gave you two because you always need to have two, right? So I had two stones. One was the wolf about being a teacher, and then the other one was all about being the leader of a tribe or community. And I was like, okay, great. Even the stones are telling me about what am I supposed to be doing? And I heard, oh, soul language. And I went, get me a pen. The woman's like, what? I was like, get me a pen. She's like, you're covered in mud. I was like, I don't care. And that was like the beginning of this way of profoundly connecting to yourself and your soul so you can have a clear channel of communication. So before in the green room, we were all talking, and Todd, you mentioned the dark night of the soul. And it's really hard to say that without rolling my eyes, because there's no such thing as a dark night of the soul, everyone. Your soul is whole and complete. It's the human that's so far away from the soul that feels like they have to travel through this dark tunnel, right?
Yeah.
So when we know our soul languages, it allows us to have that deeper connection. It puts tangibility to what we know deep down inside. So we finally have the silly human words so we can connect, right? So one of my soul languages is called Graceful Warrior. Of course, I was at war with everything because I wasn't utilizing it consciously. But the moment like I understood that, I was like, oh, wait, this is a gift? Oh, wait, this is why people are going to want to work with me, because I have courage and I have strength and I can hold that space for them. Oh my God. And the moment I really accepted that, I stopped making war with things and I really started utilizing it consciously. And I remember the moment where the internal is now creating external experiences, because this guy sat down next to me at a coffee house and we were talking. I was like, yeah, I have warrior energy. He's like, that's really cool. And I went, oh my God, look, it's happening. The internal is so aligned that the external is bending, right? I think so often, we're dropped with all on this planet with all the knowledge inside of us, and we just don't remember it. And so that's a really lot of words to tell you how I got mostly where I am today.
Well, define for us soul language then,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this to me is, well, and I heard you describe it, I think it's an alignment between the human and the soul so that they're on the same page and can proceed with your purpose. Did I get it right?
Mostly, yes. Yes. So what it does is it gives words to three core energies of your soul. Your mission, and I want to talk about mission for a second, because everyone wants to know what their mission or their purpose is. And you've been being in your mission and your purpose since the moment you've spit out into this planet. You can't not be your purpose. I think people, what they're looking for about their purpose is really like, what's the delivery system? You're not here to be a coach. You're not here to be a speaker. You're not here to be a baseball player. That's not your purpose. That's a delivery system. So
I
that,
love that.
right? Thank you. So that first language, which is a core energy, silly word for core energy, is really about your mission or your purpose, what you're profoundly here to experience, and then offer that experience to others. So there's 19 different languages in that category. Mine is called Equalizer. It's all about creating that perfect formula balance, first for myself and then for others. It shows up in the weirdest ways. I can go into a restaurant and it's all suddenly everything's perfect, meaning there's just the right amount of people. The service just goes smoothly. If it was crowded at the door, it's thinned out. It's very kind of interesting to to watch. Some other languages in that category are pioneer, matriarch, patriarch, prophet, right? When people have words to that, they go, oh, my mission here is to profoundly be balanced for me and then offer that to others. You get a settling down, you stop searching, and then the delivery systems will fall into place. The second category is all about how you'll be known here. It's all about the fuel of your mission. So my language, you remember my earlier story about telling people the truth. My language in that category is called teacher of integrity. I have been able to see all of my life where people are out of the consciousness of love and then offer them the chance to get back in, which means then back into balance and back into their manifestation power. When I was younger, this was really operated unconsciously, right? Because I would be like very black and white with it, right? One of the reasons I tell a story about being in PR with my best friend, and we had these clients who were a relationship couple. They were relationship coaches and they were a couple. And he would get on the phone with me and go, you talk to me and I feel like a child and I would get off the phone and I go, I don't know anything about anything, but I can't make him feel anything. Right? Right? But they were so out of integrity with what they were saying and doing that my unconscious vibration would be a trigger for them.
Wow.
And I didn't know that at that time, right? Well, another way that shows up in an interesting way is if someone is putting out a new program or an online thing, I will find every glitch or every potential glitch that will happen to me. And I'll tell them, like, look, it's okay. They're like, but that's not even, we don't even know how that's happened. I was like, I know, but I'm like the ghost in the machine to help you realign all of those things. So the last category is about our soulful personality, how our soul prefers to go through life. And we tend to really judge our preferences, right? And so when we judge our preferences about how we prefer to do things, it creates a lot of turmoil in our life. So my language in that category is called Graceful Warrior, action, movement, courage, and grace. So I can give a one-liner to every soul on this planet, and that becomes our mild marker of consciousness. If we're not being and doing that, we're creating struggle. And lucky me, since I've been on the path for a while, my struggle is very subtle, very sneaky. And I'm not moving boulders, I'm moving little grains of sand from unconscious side of the beach to the consciousness side of the beach, right? So I can outsmart myself. So having this real solid way of connecting really helps me not to outsmart myself. So, right, mostly. So my one-liner is I create balance for myself and others through love, integrity, and courage. And so the funny thing, guys, is lately I've been identifying people who have my language in common, which doesn't really happen to me a lot. So I've been reading the definitions and trying not to crack up when I read them to my clients because I'm like, oh, look, I just did that yesterday. I just operated unconsciously, right? Because it's being conscious of practice. And another way to say being conscious is accepting, acknowledging, and operating from the fact that you're whole and complete. You're the individualization of the one. And that takes practice and it takes tools and it takes
just like being connected, right? Is
totally. It's all one and the same. You can say it there's so many different ways to say that truth, right? And there's so many amazing tools to get you back into connection, back into knowing you're whole and complete. And smart, intelligent people need several tools because they can outsmart themselves. So that's right. That's basically the kind of fundamentals of what soul language is.
Well, there's a lot there to unpack.
I'm like a machine gun.
Yeah, you basically just did the synopsis of your whole book. So I'm not sure what to ask next, but let's back up. And so what you're saying is each of us has 3 different languages. that
Yes.
our soul speaks.
Yes.
And that makes it unlikely that we're going to find someone who speaks the exact same 3 languages that we do.
You
right?
know, that's a really good point, Jackie. It took 5 years of identifying people's soul languages before I met someone who had the exact same 3 languages as someone else.
Hmm.
And there, what makes the difference, or what makes their snowflake different than the other person's, is their experiences utilizing those soul languages.
Mm.
So, you know, a lot of the kind of the experiences would be similar, but the details would be different. And so even when they had the same 3 soul languages, they, of course, really, it was like having a sister from another mister kind of feeling. And yet there were a lot of uniqueness about them.
So how do
So-
you discover these languages then? in a
So
person?
the way we identify someone's languages is through a process called therapeutic kinesiology. It's muscle testing. It's not a test that you take. Listen, I love the Enneagram. I love human design. I love all that. And yet, Enneagram, we can throw the test, right? If I take this test, I'm a 7. If I take this test, I'm a 4. Especially as an equalizer, when I test for anything, I get balance across the board because I'm an equalizer, right? So what we do is we set up a connection, a practitioner sets up a connection between their body and your soul through asking divinity to do that. And then that soul moves our body down a testing sheet. And it's all done with us not knowing what number corresponds to that soul language. And it's such an incredible process that people go, oh my God, are you in my head? Like, how did you do that? I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. Your soul moved my body. All I did was like twitch. So that's how we identify someone's soul languages.
Wow, what does that feel like for you when you're doing that?
It feels like I'm being pulled or pushed in a direction. It's actually kind of cool. And I muscle test so much for myself and for others that occasionally when I'm falling asleep, if a question runs through my head, my body will twitch and I'll be like, yeah, I wasn't asking for an answer for that, right? So it literally feels like, for me, being pulled in one direction and then another. It's really cool. And anyone can muscle test. It's a process that everyone can learn.
Interesting.
Fascinating.
Todd.
That fascinating is what comes to my mind. And I listened to some podcasts that you did this morning, and this is permanent. So you mentioned the Enneagram, and that, like you said, is an evolving thing and it can change, but the soul language, discovering your soul language, working with, what do you call it, a practitioner or working with an interpreter?
So I call it a practitioner. So once you have your languages identified by a practitioner, right, you never have to talk to another practitioner.
Yeah. So
Okay?
it's a permanent direction. And
Yes.
this process, like I said before, creates an alignment between the human part of you and your soul.
Yeah.
Give us some of those benefits. What give us some of those ideas of what the result of that is.
Well, the result is a lot less friction in your life. The result is a lot less suffering. The result is a lot less operating from programming versus operating from truth. You know, here's a very tangible example. Okay. So my wonderful boyfriend cleaned the bathroom from top to bottom. That bathroom's never been that. I mean, he cleaned the light switch, right? It was freaking amazing. So I went in there, and there was like, he's like, okay, so can you put some of the stuff back? I was like, fine. Then I got mad. Why aren't you doing this? Like, why am I doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And I thought, oh my God, this is programming. This is not operating from wholeness and completeness. So I took a deep breath and I was like, okay, so I'm obviously making war here, right? I know what that feeling is. So I talked to that part of my soul called the Graceful Warrior. I was like, what's the damage? Like, why am I so mad? He spent an hour and a half cleaning the bathroom, and our bathroom's not that big. And now I got to put this stuff back. Why am I, what is this about? Why am I angry? And my graceful warrior says, because you're hung up on some model of what should happen rather than what is happening. And I went, oh, and all of the anger left my body.
Hmm.
Right. And that's about cleaning the bathroom. Right. So, since our goal to create happiness and success on this planet is to put consciousness in everything we do,
Mm.
if I'm putting war, even the slightest, into everything I do, that's going to result back in suffering and more war and conflict. So, the benefits of knowing your soul language is the benefits of having a direct way to talk and hear your soul through less human, programming will help you really realize the truth that you are an individualization of the one. You can make a choice any moment of any day to express that and to receive all of the benefits of knowing that.
That's amazing. So the visual I got was it's an alignment between the human and the soul, but it's also a way for you to, how should I say, easily be conscious about your choices and your awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that people need an ongoing tool that's practical, that can be implemented in every step of their lives. I'm warrior energy. If I can't use it in everyday movement, I'm not going to do it. Right.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because I am human and
Yeah.
I have my human tendencies. But if there's a flag that raises up, or if there's something, because I've used that in my life and I use it in my life, if something flags, right, I stop and focus on that or think about it and take a pause, and clearly I can get the answer or
Definitely.
come up with the conclusion.
Yeah. And I think it also, the benefit of sometimes working with a coach or a practitioner is that we tend to ask the same questions, right? And so that's why we work with coaches and practitioners and support people to ask new questions. So, what I love about the definitions, when you get your soul language identified and you get your little definition sheet, there are questions there that you can ask yourself that will jumpstart transformation and get the human on board mostly with the soul. The reason why the human isn't on board with the soul sometimes is not because the human disagrees, it's because of what the human has been taught and
Pre-programming.
experiences, right? And belief and situations. And, what happened to you when you were 7 in first grade? Like, we get it. And yet, do you really want to make every decision now based on what happened to you when you were 7 in second grade? And I don't know how old we are in second grade. I'll be totally honest with that. But I can hear my nephew going, Aunt Jen, I'm older than that. Or I'm younger than that. So, it allows you to really
Connect.
participate. Yeah, and participate fully. Like, we are here to have a good time. We are not here to suffer.
Yeah.
Right? Even if we're suffering, we're not here to suffer.
So what does
Think
it
about
feel like then when you meet someone who speaks the same soul language that you do? Is that a good thing, or can it be a conflict? I don't know.
It
They say
depends.
opposites attract, so I'm not sure.
Right? It depends on like that level. Like, so it could be really like a good thing, like you said, or they could polish your diamond. So it's really about, right? It's really about what you're doing with that conscious energy or unconscious. If one of you is operating unconsciously, then the other can be triggered. If both of you decide to operate consciously, it's like you'll say something and when someone goes, I totally understand what you mean.
Mhm.
They really totally understand what you mean. So that person that, remember back when I was at that conference that said we were going to be friends? Well, we had the same language in common. And we would tell a story and I'd be like, the details are different, but that exact thing happened to me. And this is the story. She tells it with different details, but I said to her, I was at a fire circle and everyone was talking And so I said something and they all looked at me. And then they went back to the exact point in their conversation at the exact moment they stopped and took up that conversation as though I never, ever spoke.
Mm.
And she's like, oh my God, that same thing has happened to me too. And that was that teacher of integrity thing again. And when she said that, and the feeling was like, oh my God, you actually really truly understand what that feels like. You really had that experience. There's this kismet, there's this understanding, and you feel really seen, really heard. If you're not operating consciously or willing to, there's a lot of conflict. But that also can result in a lot of consciousness. So it's all a game, right?
So there's something that occurs when two people meet each other and they click, but they haven't really even spoken. I can speak from experience. When I
All that
first
chemistry, right?
Right.
when I first met Jackie, there was something that I just, okay, what am I to know here is what I was taught to ask, but you're going a little deeper in saying that there's this soul alignment occurring on another level, that you're creating this connection that you have. If you're not conscious or not aware of it, it's just a fleeting attraction. Yeah.
Well, it could be a fleeting contraction or attraction, or you could be like, I hate that person for no
Yeah.
apparent reason.
So the
right?
opposite, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that could be based on if you have soul languages in common. That could be based on past life stuff. That could be based on that your soulmate. There are a lot of reasons why we are kind of triggered or attracted to people like magnets, right? Like when I first met Warner, I was like, I want to hurt him with a spoon, right? Because it would really hurt. Right? And I called my best friend. I was like, oh, this guy. She's like, why? I was like, well, he wants to talk to me and he thinks I'm pretty. And she's like, yeah, you want to give that a chance? And I was like, oh, right. So here's an opportunity that's extremely in my greatest good, but I'm being triggered to actually stretch myself and create new programming. So if I didn't have this connection process, I would have passed Winter by because I was standing in the kitchen having this conversation with the divine, and my soul going, what's with this guy?
Yeah.
And what I heard was, you get to make a choice here. And the phone rings and it's Warner asking me for the second date. And I went, oh. And he said, you can make a choice. And I went, oh my gosh. Like, okay, I don't have to be hit on the head. Right.
Yeah.
And so people need that process to really, really create that connection so you don't feel so alone. So you know that you're being loved and supported and provided for. Because that's all we want.
And
all
it's
everyone's searching for.
And it's easy, right? Because
Yeah.
basically, I think what I heard you say this morning is you're tapping into your intuition really in a direct way. We all have these intuition hits and we either ignore them or we move on, but now we're becoming consciously aware and really listening to that intuition because we're in tune with it.
Yeah. And you're asking questions. I think, so many people, that was my first program called the Intuitive Toolbox. People would go, I want to know more about, I want to be more intuitive. And I go, why? And you're like, they're dumbstruck. What do you mean why? I was like, well, why? Why do you want more intuition? Right? Do you want to be closer to yourself, your higher power? Do you want to feel safe? Like, what do you want it for? Right? Our intuition is our soul, our divinity speaking to ourselves. So when you create a bigger structure about connecting to your soul and your divinity, your intuition is naturally going to expand because you're listening, you're being engaged in conversation. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that they can be in conversation with divinity, that they're sometimes people hand over their power to divinity instead of being like, hey, this is co-creative process. And when you understand it's a co-creative process, it becomes this, I'm seeing the amusement park, the swings, which when I was younger, I loved the swings, right? It was like freedom. And right. So it becomes this really engaging, free process when you have a conversation with your divinity and the divine.
So what I'm wondering though is because you call this soul languages, and we've always spoken the same language. Our soul has always spoken the same language, right? It doesn't change. It hasn't changed. So do we get confused then because we don't understand this language? And when we learn that we have this soul language, is it a little bit like learning French? I mean, do you have to learn how to speak the language once you know what language you're supposed to speak? For instance, what if I, by lineage, am French, but I was born in America and I've always lived in America, and yet now I learn I have this French lineage, and all of a sudden I feel drawn to the French people, the French climate, whatever it is. Does it feel like that? Even though I still don't speak French, but is it going to take more education to learn how to listen to my soul, to speak the language of my soul, even though I find out, oh, this is my lineage? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, totally. So first of all, in this lifetime, you have 3 languages. In previous lifetimes, you could use different languages to achieve what you want. Okay. The second thing is when that language or that core energy of soul, when it's identified, if it feels so foreign to someone, that's because it's so underutilized that they have had little acknowledgement of it. And so that might take a little more education and practice. When you identify someone's language and you go through the definition, most of the time you watch them go like this or they laugh. They like, oh my God, I just did that like yesterday. Oh, that's what that's about, right? So it's like no, it's like being hit on the head and you were both American and French and could speak French. And then someone speaks French to you and you're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh my God, I speak French. It's more that than the previous kind of metaphor. And so it allows people to kind of have this, oh, yeah. And then there's also people that just need some support about how to understand how their soul is speaking to them or how they're receiving their information. So TV's great, but it's kind of ruined us for intuition, right? Because most of the people like want to see the dead person or think they're supposed to have images, and yet they're getting all this information from their body, but they're not acknowledging it or understanding it because they want it to be visual. So it could be understanding your database problem. My database, my human, loves cartoons. I love Star Trek. So I will get references with cartoons and Star Trek. Now, sometimes I go to a client, listen, do you like Star Trek? Because this is what I'm hearing. And they'll go, oh, totally. Sometimes I'll have to kind of like go, okay, I have to like translate it in my head. And then other times when someone's soul speaks to me, I'll get a word or something and I'll be like, I have no idea what this means. I think I'm going to butcher this word. And I say it and they're like, oh yeah, that's Russian and it means blah, blah, blah. And I totally know what that means, right? So it's really about a couple things about you have to understand your own database and stop wanting it to be different. You can build up how your intuition relate or how your soul relays the information. But if you're not acknowledging that you hear the pop in the head, right? Something was not there and now it's there. Then how are you going to get a visual if you're not even acknowledging the way you're getting the information now? So Jackie, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. So my next question then is, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? In other words, should a person read your book to learn their language and try to figure it out?
We won't work.
Or should they talk to you first, talk to a practitioner first, learn the languages, and then read the book to educate themselves?
Yeah, we have only 3 rules in soul language as practitioners. No one's allowed to change the definition on their own. Everyone has to go be checked on the universal grid. And the other one, which is highly recommended, is that nobody works with anyone who self-identifies. Because humans are human. And like me, they want that second card or second cucumber because, right? So um, I love my book. Okay. It's a freaking textbook of soul language.
500 pages, I think, is what you
It's
said.
500 pages. So if you get the book, amazing, thank you. And it comes with a discovery session. It's my gift to you. So you'll get one of your languages identified so you can start actually having a conversation with your soul. And then you can read the book if you want to gain additional information. But the best practice, the best understanding of your soul is to be engaging in conversation and not read it with all your head because you're going to get stuck down in what your mind thinks, the little mind, rather than what your soul is guiding you to do. So that's my strong suggestion.
So a person should connect with you or one of your practitioners, and you have many now, and they're worldwide, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
How is that a quick process? Interview?
It's not a quick process. It takes 3 months. We
Wow.
meet 90 minutes each week for 3 months.
Wow.
And it's all done through energetics.
Yeah.
So they don't read, they're not tested. It's like, okay, so tell us what a pioneer feels like to you. Tell us what you're here to support pioneers with. Tell us what the pioneer energy wants you to know. So it's all done by energetics, and every practitioner is a master intuitive. And it's a very strict training, and it's one of where I hold practitioners, I hold them because I'm a teacher of integrity. So I hold them to that high end of integrity.
Accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a calling. I never ask people if they want to be a practitioner. They approach me or one of the other practitioners. So that's the way we set it up.
And is the sacred practice that you offer, is that separate from that, or is that pretty much part of it?
No, a sacred practice. Here's why sacred practice is so important, because that creates a foundation. So when you're having a challenge, the dip of the challenge is not huge. And sacred practice has parts to it, right? I think most of the people think about sacred practice as, oh, meditation for an hour. Well, again, warrior energy, I don't like to meditate. My body has to move. And so that connection time has parts in it. It has that connection time where you're being still and you're like in that energy of love from the divine. There's the question and answer period. And it also has to fit in your everyday life or you're not going to do it. And so that free gift helps you design your own sacred practice that works for you. So you can start to create this foundation of love. So when there's a challenge, you're not off and running in the challenge. You're like, oh, so it's just a blip rather than a crevice.
Does it help to know your language before you
You
start
don't
the
need
sacred-
to.
Okay.
No, I mean, I developed that sacred practice tool, I think, way before I developed soul language. So,
Okay.
and it allows you to keep updating your sacred practice because as your consciousness grows, your practices have to be updated as well.
Fascinating. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. We only have, about 10 minutes left. And I know you offered our listeners a gift. Can you tell us about that gift?
Sure, that's that sacred practice gift. It comes into 4 parts. There's an audio, there's a sheet, and that will actually help you design your own sacred practice. So you're integrated so you can do it. So it's part of your life. And it will allow you to keep going back to that tool as you grow, and also allow you, if you're like me or as a renegade, you get bored quickly. It allows you to keep your practice fresh so you can't outsmart yourself.
Well, define that for us. So a sacred practice, there might be people out there asking, well, what is that? What does that do? What does that do for me? What is that practice all about?
Yeah, it allows you to have a deep connection with yourself and the divine. It allows you to remember that you're whole and complete. It allows you to remember that you're loved, supported, and provided for. So you can create based on that. And in times of challenge, you don't have such a deep dip that you're like, oh, this is not happening to me. This is happening through me and for me. And make it from there. It allows you to be in the consciousness of neutrality. And when you're in the consciousness of neutrality, all the doors start to open. I really like my clients for that to be their main consciousness level. I think so often people are trying to be in the consciousness of love. Well, according to David Hawkins, only 0.005% of everyone in the world has been able to maintain that.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. Stop torturing yourself, right? Start where you are, allow yourself to grow and continue your sacred practice so you have more and more time in that consciousness of love. But you need to be in the consciousness of neutrality just to have a more exciting and blissful life.
And sounds to me like it's a great way to feel groovy. I
Totally.
just totally
I love
get that.
groovy.
I'm totally into it.
Groovy is one of my favorite words. I'm gonna quote you.
You and I are going to arm wrestle over that one.
I'll footnote you.
You guys found this a similar language. It's the groovy
Love it.
language.
Yeah.
Feeling groovy.
Groovy.
So Jennifer, what does a discovery call look like? On the discovery call, is that where you'll learn one of your languages? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's technically online. It's 15 minutes. It's really 30 minutes. And we identify one of your soul languages with your permission. And then we actually do some down and dirty transformational work and
Wow.
teach you how to connect to that part of your soul. So, I had someone say that, she spent years and years in therapy and we kind of resolved the issue in 15 minutes by talking to her soul. So you'll walk away
That's
from.
fascinating.
Thank you.
And that's free.
Yes,
For
of
all our
course.
for the listeners.
Yes.
That's free. That's a discovery call, about 30 minutes. You're going to learn one of your languages, plus how to tap into that, how to speak it a little bit better, right? How to understand language that's being spoken to you by your soul.
Exactly.
And then what do you suggest happens after that for someone?
If someone really resonates with the work, they can do a soul language ID, which is a 60-minute session where we identify the other two and we talk to all three and we do really tangible work there. And we do additional transformation and energy work. And then they have access to me via email for 30 days after that. And they get a whole bunch of integration tools.
I have your email address already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Does it have groovy in the address anywhere?
No.
Oh, that is just amazing. So they can connect with you on the website and set all that up. You shared with us a benefit, or what do I want to call it when somebody highlights what you did for them? What am I thinking, Jackie?
Like a testimonial?
A testimonial. Where'd that word go? It just popped back in. Jackie put it back in my head.
Yay, Jackie.
So
Yeah,
you shared with us, what's another one that really stands out? A testimonial from somebody after working with you or figuring out their soul's purpose, or their alignment with their humanness and their soul. Is there one that jumps out?
Yeah, I mean, I've been called the liquid nitrogen of the soul. I've been called, I remember one person that went, oh my God, I have been non-accepting of this part of me my entire life.
Wow.
Right. And now I get to accept it. Like, this is a gift. This is, she's like, I've been afraid to open my mouth because of what I see and understand. But you're saying, like, this is who I am on a core level. I was like, yeah. It allows people to, I think so often people want us, especially our family of origin, want us to be a certain way or look a certain way or say a certain thing. And a lot of us just aren't that way. And it really allows you to kind of release some of that childhood trauma about what you should be or who you think you should be, and really accept who you are on a deep level. And when you do that, you become unstoppable.
So this muscle testing then that you talk about, because David Hawkins, of course, talks about in his book, Power versus Force. Is that something that you can do to yourself? Because David Hawkins claims you can know the answers to everything. You never have to ask anybody anymore. The answers are all inside of you. You can find it. You can figure it out through the muscle testing. But how does that happen? How do you do that? And
so muscle
you teach.
Yeah, I teach full body response muscle testing. So we ask your body to give a full body yes and a full body no. Yes, anyone can muscle test. Yes, you can ask any question and receive the answer. The key to that, which I don't think David explains, and I love David Hawkins, but the key is what question you're asking and how you ask the question.
Right.
And You can't keep asking the same question time and time again. And if you ask a question and you get an answer, you have to follow through. And, that's where people fall down in muscle testing. But yes, muscle testing is very easy, but there is some structure to it. And I think people can sometimes use it as a crutch, like anything else. And so if you're going to decide to use muscle testing in your everyday life and as a spiritual practice, really get some good training around it. So you're phrasing your questions accurately to get the answers that are really in alignment versus, hey, am I going to win the lottery? Your soul doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Right.
So is that something that you teach? Is that something that you give instruction
Yeah,
on?
we teach every practitioner that comes. So I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Fascinating. I am just
Thanks.
blown. I'm even more blown away that Jackie read that book. Power Books.
I loved it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's
Jackie,
very, very, very cool.
My Little Book of Prayers is my favorite book.
That's right. That's your other book.
Yeah, that's my favorite book.
Tell us
And
about
you
that.
also do. Oh, go ahead.
So I write Affirmative Prayer, which is a way of manifesting through the written word and by your connection. And I was writing them for years. And clients would be like, thank you so much for writing this prayer. Let me tell you all the things that demonstrated after I read it.
Yeah.
And I was on the beach and my friend went, when are you going to write that little book of prayers? And I went, oh, yeah, I heard you, God. All right. And I just collected all of like the big theme of my prayers and picked my favorites. And that's how that book came about.
And you also provide people with private personal prayers. Is that
Yeah, you can get a $20 prayer. You and I'll actually write it for exactly what you want it, the kind of topic or theme. I love writing them. It's the easiest and most wonderful kind of service that I offer because I think that it really supports people instantly and it allows them to really co-create with the universe. So yeah, I
Wow.
love doing it.
And they can connect with you again on your website. We'll have the link on lifemasteryradio.com or .net and in Jackie's blog post, but tell us that link again.
Sure, thank you. It's soullanguage.us.
soullanguage.us. Oh my goodness, ladies, we only have about 3 minutes left. This whole hour blew by. I hope, Jennifer, you will come back on the show. I think there's a lot more to talk about. And it was such a joy to have you on Life Mastery Radio today.
It would be really fun to have someone here that you could help to discover their soul.
Well, maybe one of us should move forward and do. I'm intrigued. I'm fascinated. So you just might be hearing from. I do have your email address, so I think
I would be honored. Just let me know.
It would be my honor for sure. Any last parting shot you might have, Jennifer?
Jackie, pick a number 1 through 19.
8.
Everyone picks 8.
Everyone does, you said?
Yeah, a prayer of understanding. Today, I'm tuned into my essential nature that knows the path to understanding clarity, allowing and accepting that I am human and I might be afraid of what is next. And yet, I can pause and allow my essential self to fill me with safety. And in doing so, understanding and clarity emerge.
Nice. Very applicable, at least from what I know.
Yeah.
2 minutes left. Jackie, takeaway. Did you get a good takeaway? She's an awesome guest.
But I want Todd to pick a number. I want to hear his number.
Oh, pick a number.
Pick a number, Todd.
1 through 19.
5.
Letting go of fear. I know my mind is trying to take control of my truth, and with full love in my heart, I bless my mind and allow myself to pause and feel the truth deep within my soul, knowing that all is well and that I am safe. I can feel the beginning of change that this knowing that I am safe creates in my life, starting right here and now.
Feeling groovy. Da, 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 da.
Nice.
Thanks again, Jennifer. It was awesome to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
Jackie, I really dug connecting with you. This was a cool guest you came up with. So bonus points for Jackie. Yay.
Yay.
That's about all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please tell a friend about the show. We don't have telephones. Well, we have cell phones, but now it's tell a friend. Tell a friend about the great show that you heard, Life Mastery Radio with Todd and Jackie. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. Connect with us. Connect with Jennifer. Jennifer has an amazing practice and will help you become more aware of your purpose and your consciousness. Check her out. Lastly, please, please, please make it a great day because, as you heard Jennifer say many times, it's all about choice. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Jennifer.